down here by the creek getting ready to make a video for you folks, and I thought I would show you what's hiding over there. I don't know if you can see it very well, but there's a little rabbit hiding out under the tree there. We just had a huge downpour of rain. Well, it's been raining all day. You can see the creek's all muddy because of the amount of rain and the heavy downpour, and I came down here to make a video and thought that was pretty cool. It's right there. Let me see if I can get it closer. Anyways, back to the video. Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Yeah, the creek's a little murky. It's not like that all the time. It's just because of the rain. It's been raining all day, and the last, I don't know, probably 3 hours or so, it's been a pretty heavy downpour, and it stirs up a lot of the dirt. This is all spring fed. Spring's just a couple hundred yards that way, just off of our property into the woods. Anyways, I know I'm kind of hammering this one hard, but it may be one of the bigger things that we're facing, at least in the near future. And I think that this issue is part of the big globalist issue, the global takeover, the digital currency, the digital ID, all that kind of stuff. And that is this global conflict. Just today, it was announced that NORAD intercepted and escorted 4 Russian planes out of our territory up in Alaska. 2 of them were strategic bombers. These are the kind that are capable of carrying nuclear weapons. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say that happens a lot, though. It does. Every year there are Russian planes that fly over into our territory, and they're told to get lost. We did scramble 4 jets, I think 2 F-16s and F-22s, 2 F-22s. Or whatever it is. I can't remember the exact planes. It doesn't matter, right? Who cares? The point is that it happened in light of all of this shooting stuff down and the increase in tensions. And so while this stuff happens in the past, I think it's much more significant that it's happening right now, because if Russia or China was not wanting, if they weren't willing to go to war, if all the aggression was just on the American side, or there was just, we as Americans were being lied to that there's this chance of war, and they didn't want to go to war against us, they would make sure that this didn't happen. The point is that this is being done for purpose. This is testing the waters, seeing how far they can get, getting us on edge. I think in the long run, a lot of this stuff that we're seeing happen, while some of it's very real, most of it's very real. Some of it's debatable, what we're shooting down over Canada and Michigan and, that kind of stuff. But the point is these things are really happening to a certain extent. But I think in the end, it's all meant to cause chaos and confusion. I know I've said that quite a bit lately. It is the motto of Freemasonry, order out of chaos. What is it? Ordo de chaos, chaos. It's order out of chaos, and that is, I believe, the main goal here is to get everyone in just such a state of confusion and a state of panic. We're panicked over trains, we're panicked over UFOs, we're panicked over, this and that, and we're focused on this and that, and everyone's just kind of to the point that I see so many people that are intensely obsessed, and I don't mean that necessarily in a bad way, but they're intensely focused. Let me say it that way. That's a nicer way of saying it. They're intensely focused on whatever issue that they believe is important right now, and it's like, if you're not paying attention to this, then you're bad, you're not paying attention. And then the other person's like, yeah, but what about this issue? You got to pay attention to this issue. This is the biggest thing going on. No, you're wrong, it's this one. And the reality is, it's all of it. It's all very serious. It's all something that is affecting us. Each individual thing is definitely affecting us, but the bigger picture is when you kind of step back just a little bit and try to see the bigger picture, which is something I've talked about on this channel for at least 3 years that I can remember. That the the bigger picture is that they're trying to kind of move the chess pieces in the way that best suits them, and part of the way to do that is to just create a lot of division, a lot of chaos, a lot of panic, a lot of fear. And it throws everyone off, and so that they can kind of behind the scenes get their stuff done. And war is one of them. I mean, it's no surprise. It's not been a secret ever that these powers and these banks and these corporations that rule everything, they want war. And when everything else fails, well, why not have a war? Because that just makes them money. It gives them more power. It moves the chess pieces around better. They're able to do things easier because we're at war. They're able to crack down on our freedoms. They're able to say, oh, we got to have this digital currency. We got to have this digital thing and this in your arm and tracking and monitoring, and because it's all about safety and security. For those of you old enough to remember back in 9/11, after that happened, how much did they clamp down on freedoms then? Because in the saying that we have to do this because of safety and security. Well, we're going to see that happen again too, and it's all done for a purpose. And we have to remember that these things that are happening, whether it's more balloons, I mean, I saw that, I guess, Romania scrambled jets because of a spy balloon or a weather balloon. Whatever it is that's happening, it's not that it's not real, and it's not that it's not important. It's that we need to stay focused on the bigger picture, which is pushing us into a state of global conflict and global confusion, because out of that chaos, they will present the order. They will have the solution out of the chaos that they created. And I think that's a big part of what's happening, because I've heard it quite a bit in the last couple of weeks, especially since if you go back 2 weeks ago, it's when the train derailment happened, and that's when the first balloon stuff started going on, especially in the last 2 weeks. But really, if you go back to the first of the year, I mean, it's been going on since the first year. You got the earthquake a couple of weeks ago or whatever. A lot of things happening. And if you go back, and a lot of people are starting to feel this, either they're overwhelmed because of the amount of chaos and the amount of stuff going on, or they're starting to feel a panic because they realize that because there's just so much stuff going on that there may be something really bad getting ready to happen, because that's just kind of the way things go. And I want to encourage you and suggest to you that, I mean, you're correct in the sense that there's probably something that's getting ready to happen. And this has been talked about now for weeks. But to not allow it to bring you down. Try to see the bigger picture, and yes, acknowledge these things that are happening, and do what we can in our own personal lives to create preparations for those, or to react appropriately to those, especially if they may happen to directly involve us. For people that may live in and around, northeastern Ohio, of course, that's something that's directly, affecting you. They said today that plume, the fire's been out for days now, but that original plume is moving. It's down into like Virginia, West Virginia area. I mean, it's hard to say, according to all the local officials and the state officials, that, while things looked bad for the first couple of days, it's within acceptable parameters. I mean, how much can you believe? And I think that's part of it. That's the goal, is that we don't trust any information anymore. We don't trust them. We don't trust anything. And then we get to the point where we don't trust each other. We don't believe each other. And in the end, that is this kind of a Marxist ideology where we create so much chaos and confusion and division that we don't ever stand for anything as a people. And so they're able to more easily come in and provide this solution, or provide something that's shiny and nice and looks good. And that is really, I believe, a bigger part of what the globalist agenda is, this great reset. If you listen over the last few years of the things that these people have said, the Klaus Schwabs and the Bill Gates and all of their little underlings, they kind of subliminally and sometimes overtly talk about chaos and talk about angry people and talk about, you know, things that's affecting the market and how it's going to be bad for a while. Things are just going to be bad for a while, but we have to go through that bad times to get to the good times. Well, that's according to their standards, what bad times are and what they say good times will be. And what they're basically saying is for them to rule and for them to enact their policies and what they want for us, they're going to have to cause us to go through a lot of chaotic times. And I believe that's exactly what we're going through. I mean, it's biblical. Read any of the end time prophecies or any of the prophecies in the Bible from, all the way through from beginning to the end. It definitely talks about the amount of chaos and hardship that people are going to have to go through to get to that end. That's why Yeshua says, for those that endure to the end shall be saved. And so we're going through our own level of tribulations now. I'm not saying it's but it's our tribulations. And I suspect that those will get worse long before they'll ever get better. And we have to brace ourselves and prepare, but also do as much rational thinking through them and not get caught up in the emotional hype of what's going on. Yes, we acknowledge it. Yes, we prepare for it, especially if it may be something that directly affects us. And we also use it as our own little timelines. Well, they're doing this now, so that means it's getting closer, that kind of thing. But we have to be cautious and careful not to get, I think, really caught up in the panic and the fear and the chaos, because that's what they want. That's what they want in the end. And that's how I believe in the end that they will get what they want. It's kind of like digital currency. The average person, if you ask them, they're going to say, no, I don't want that. They're just not. And it's been that way ever since the idea first was, floated around. Most people would say they absolutely don't want that. As much as they may hate our fiat paper money system, they absolutely don't want a digital system. But so how are they going to bring that on us? I mean, are they going to force us at gunpoint? I don't really think so. I think that they will create a situation where people beg for it because it just seems to be the only solution, because we're all going to die because our monetary system just collapsed and we have no money and everything's, it's hyperinflated, or it's, takes $1 trillion to buy a loaf of bread unless you use this digital currency. See what I'm saying? And so they create a problem and then offer you the solution. We have to be mindful of that. We have to be cautious of that. That's part of that mental preparedness. It's not just psychologically and emotionally being ready for something. It's also intellectually being able to see through their rouge, okay? See through their little situation that they've created for us, and be prepared and to not get caught up in it. So while these things are happening, and they're very real things, and they do affect us, and they're certainly pushing us further down that point of control and war and chaos and collapse and famine and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they are definitely pushing us down that path. Let's do our best to not get caught up in their plans for fear and their plans for chaos. Maybe the rest of the world will be, but don't let it do that to you. Keep your wits about you, that level head, so that you can think through it, because in times of great chaos, that's really the best thing that you can have on your side to survive is being able to think through something and to use rational thought and level-headedness to get through those troubled times. It's going to be way better than the best bug-out bag and bug-out location, I assure you. So in the long run, aside from your spiritual preparedness, that's probably going to be the greatest thing that you can have on your side to prepare yourselves for the things that are still yet to come. Folks, it's time to get your houses in order, prepare mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.